So one of the major opportunities with ICHRA is the design that goes into it. And what's cool is you're able to offer different things to different groups of employees or classes to employees. Now there's some rules you have to follow, right? You can't say, well, I like Joe more. I want to give Joe more than I like Susan. I'm not going to give her as much, right? But as long as you use what we call some safe harbors in the design, and the popular ones are that you can segment by are full-time versus part-time. So you got your full-time staff and then your part-time hygienist. If you're the dentist, let's give full-time 500 and part-time 200, or part-time nothing if you don't want to. Another big split we can do is hourly versus salary. If you have employees that come in for a few hours each week, or even they're just classified as hourly. You can do different reimbursements by location if they're in different rating areas. So we see that a lot where, hey, we've got a main office in town, and then we got our warehouse, a few miles away or in another state. You can set different amounts there. So the one thing you can't do, we get asked a lot, is by job title and tenure. So you can't say I want to give my managers more than my field workers. But if they're separated by those classifications I mentioned, hourly versus salary, part-time or full-time, or seasonal and full-time, or then by location, you can offer different things. And the cool thing too is you can even mix and match those categories. So you can have full-time employees in Arizona versus part-time employees in Texas versus hourly in Florida. You can kind of mush them all together. And then one other thing too to note is you can, if for some reason the group plan still makes sense for a lot of employees, you can still offer that to classes. The one rule is now employees can't be in multiple classes, right? They got to be in one and they get offered one thing.
Sure.
But we've seen a lot of examples where, hey, we've got our headquarters staff. We had a big home health company recently where, hey, I've got 10 full-time staff, and I want to keep them on the group plan. Great. But then I've got 90 hourly field workers that when we were trying to do the whole group plan thing, they're screwing up our participation because half of them on their spouses, but only a few of them really want it, and they'll quit if we take it away. And if we take it away, then we'll lose it. Well, hey, all right, let's use those design classes. Let's do a group plan for your full-time at this location. That's easy. And then for all of your hourly staff or your remote staff, let's offer them $400 through an ICHRA or $200. Problem solved.
That's awesome.
Much better fit.
Our subscribers and listeners are probably sitting back going, I don't believe that. That's too good to be true, because, in our minds, we're trained not to discriminate.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're basically saying is this is kind of a groundbreaking, let's call it a paradigm shift of how people go about offering benefits and how employers go about buying benefits.
It's huge. It's the first time I feel like we have a whole new insurance model. And the big one, Mike, I should mention on this group is Medicare. The groups we've seen really love, because as you know, right now there's some discrimination things with group plans where if you have an employee over 65, you can't take them off the group plan, or you run into some discrimination issues. With ICHRA, it's fantastic. Hey, they get the same $400 or whatever everyone else does, but they're not going to go buy individual insurance under 65. They're going to go buy Medicare. And the good news for the employee is they're going to love Medicare much more than any group health plan or individual plan they had in the past. The good news for the employer is, hey, I offer you $400, but I don't know, is it possible to spend $400 on Medicare premiums anymore? Like, it's just not, so the employer is not going to reimburse, very much for it. So that's a huge opportunity. If you see groups that have they're clinging to their group plan, but they've got a few folks that are Medicare eligible, ICHRA allows you to safely, in a non-discriminatory way, kind of break up that group plan and help everyone get covered either on under 65 or on Medicare.